Yeah, hey Rahul, hi. Hope you're doing well. We'll just give it a go. 2 minutes. All right, I believe we can give it a go now. Let me just share my screen. Now, see, when we know what all different test case design techniques we have in here. Now, you need to be designing this test cases for this application here. Okay, I'll just share this link over here. I would just walk you through with this application. This actually you can consider as an online shopping application for pets. Okay. So basically, and if we talk technically, it is basically an e-commerce platform where your clients can buy, chase. So here, like as you can see, you have these different categories: fish, dogs, cats, reptiles, birds. These are also links, which takes you to that category. These are also links: fish, dog, reptiles. These also takes you to those categories. Okay. And these images are also actually buttons. So if you click onto this, this also takes you to the pin here. Okay. Now, I'll just walk you through with what this application is, and then I'll tell you how you can create these test cases here. So you can like go to any application, let's say, and then these are like different products that you have. In every product, there are multiple items. So in Persian, let's say we have adult female and adult male Persian. We go with adult female, this is what it's going to show us. Okay, it will tell you how many of these are in stock. See item picture, item details, item code, item name, category, how many of these are in stock, and price per item. Click on add to cart to take you here. You can say that, okay, if we need this one like one, then this is how much I have to pay. If I need five, this is how much I need to pay. Then you can go with proceed to checkout. But for checkout, you need to log in. Or let's say even if you are here, you can get to the same page by coming up here as well. Now, since you'll be the first user, so you have to get yourself registered and then you'll be able to log in. So you can try going with for the registration as well. So you can have your password, right? And then like your first name and all that you can have. You can pick up the category that you need and all that. And finally, you can save that information. It will create a user fee. That is one thing. Once you're logged in, you might be able to see that in the cart here. You can add more, you can proceed to check out, but for that, you need to log in first. You can make changes to this anytime. Update card, you get the value. If you don't like it, you can remove this product, and that's how it. It also has this search box wherein, let's say, dog, it will give you this, you see, full dog. So you can click onto this and you can pick up what you want. You can add and then you can done it. Don't like it, you can remove. Now see, this is just the application. Now this application has created keeping testing into consideration. Okay. So In this case, you have to go and test this. There are a lot many errors. So, but see, it is not just about finding out the errors because in testing, actually, you do two types of testing. Positive and another one is negative. In positive testing, you'll see if something is working fine. In negative testing, you'll find out the errors. So both you have to work here. See, let's say if you test that, okay, I am clicking on fish icon and I'm getting into the fish product category page. That is also testing. Okay, that also could be a test case. It's not that you have to find out errors only, but verifying whether something is working correct or not, that also is your this itself. Okay. And if you want to see like what specific requirements are there, you can go to this question mark. Here it will tell you like what is being done where, like everything. Signing up, signing in, working with the product catalog, browsing the catalog, searching the catalog, working with the shopping cart, adding in the moving items, updating the quantity of an item, ordering items, reviewing an order, known issues you have in here. Everything you will get here. So just try to go ahead with this whenever you get some time. It's not going to be today. Like you'll have time till this here, July 7th. Try to complete it and submit these. You just have to create 10 test cases, nothing else. I'm giving you the sample as well. Just give me one sec. Uh, let me share that sample also with you. Yeah, I put up this.
And so you said this is based on the decision tree we did, right?
Decision what? Sorry. No, it's not like
Uh,
that. You can use any test technique, whichever you feel like going into that. It's not like that.
oh,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like it's an
okay.
application that you're getting up in here, and I'm asking you to test it. But right now, I don't want you to test it fully. I just need you to create 10 test cases.
Okay. And then you said you shared the sample, right?
Yes, I just put that in the chat.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. So I just share that with you. And this you will see, like based onto this application itself, actually, those are the, let me share my screen again. And you can see that these will be fictional, but this is how you have this. So you can create of your own. Minimum 10 test cases, more your wish. But minimum 10 test cases you need to create, and not only see till this point, we create the test case. This is test case design. We have to test also. So create and execute this is execution. So create and execute these like 10 test cases. That's it, nothing else. So that you can submit in an Excel sheet itself. This is like a sample that I have shared with you. So you can go with the sample. I've shared this link also with you. You can go ahead with that. Now, the next one, I'm not sure whether I have showed this. Let's just show that again. I am putting, and now next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna go with SQL for testing. I have shared this presentation with you. Just log in. Yes. You can download this presentation from the chat, which is there. Now, what we would be doing in here is when we go into SQL. SQL is basically when you discuss database, we'll talk about that. Actually, SQL generally is considered as a common skill for both common and desired skill. Whether it is there in the JD or not, the client expects you to know SQL. Not being an expert there, but at least you should be having the basic level of exposure to SQL so that you can at least work around database and you can fire those commands up in there as well, right? So that's what we're going to do in here as well. We'll see what actually this database is, keys, and different types of SQL commands and queries that we're going to run in here. But yeah, like before we jump onto that, just a quick dive into the basic concepts of database because we're going to deal with the database now. Now, database is primarily, you might be thinking that where you are storing data. Now, the question is, what is data? Data, we know that these are raw facts, right? But let's say you're an employee, then your ID, your name, your date of birth, and all that, right? If you're a student, then it would be again similarly. So whatever it is, the raw data, the raw facts, that is what we call as data. And where you're going to store the data, so which is primarily going to be the collection of data, that is your database. Or or to be more specific, it's going to be a systematic collection of data where you can find, you can communicate with this. Now, see, data and information are used interchangeably, right? Data, information, actually not two different things, not two same things. Data is raw facts. Information is basically like, let's say you have this data here. It goes into some process and then it becomes information. So information, you can say it is a processed data. That is how it would be. Generally, in the organizations, they might be using these two terminologies interchangeably, but yeah, primarily, that is what you have as a difference between these two. Now, data, when you say, so you're going to have this name, age, yeah, that's what I told you, right? You have all of this into consideration, like your name, age, height, weight, and all that. We can go with, even nowadays, we are storing these files as data, right? Database is your systematic collection, okay? Where it is electronic storage, like on machines, systems, you're storing your data. But this databases are nowadays more like your database management systems. We call this as DBMS, database management systems. Okay. There, in those database management systems, they give you like complete features, functionalities with which you can manage your data. But then comes communication. You have this database here. You have to communicate with your database. Okay. That communication, you need to work around with this. So to communicate, we need a language. To communicate with database, you need a language. That's what we are calling it as SQL. SQL is basically that language. SQL stands for Structured Query Language. You can call it as SQL or SQL, both ways correct. Popularly, we call it as SQL. Now, this is a language that you are actually using to communicate with the database. And you can perform like a lot of these operations. We'll talk about each of these, right? Plus, you can perform the optimization and maintenance of the database. There are a lot of these databases here, like MySQL, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, which are actually using this SQL. Now, before we jump on to the next part, that is keys. Keys we'll discuss later when we'll have the relational aspect. For now, yeah. For practice, we're going to use this because the SQL is all about practice. Now, see, there are two ways. One is we install SQL on your machine, and then we go with that. This is one way to do it. Another way, there are a lot of online platforms available. I have picked up this platform for practice because here, first of all, I am getting sample database. I'll tell you what this is all about. And I can, best part is I can customize my queries. It's not that whatever this platform gives me, I have to go with that only. I can customize my queries. I can make some changes here. And then I can fire the query and I can get the results. So that way it is good. That's why I have picked up this. I believe I have shared this link with you. Yeah, you can try that. I'll tell you anyway how to go ahead with this. Now, before we jump on to learning and firing these queries, few basic things about database. So we just discussed that database here will store your data. Right? But onto this, what would happen is you will not store data directly into the database. Database, you're going to have tables. Table, when you say, it looks like this. Now in this, you have these columns, rows. Simple. Similar structure, it is used here to store your data. You see here? This is like your table structure. This is storing data in table. All right. Also, this number of records. Records is this. Because see, rows we also call it as records. Because here, if I go into this one row, let's say this is a customers table, then this one row actually tells me everything about this particular customer. So it's going to be the record for that customer. This is the record for another customer. So that way we can call these as records also. So records are primarily rows. Even for these columns also, people call these as fields, attributes, properties. These are also columns. And all of your data will be arranged in these columns under these column headers. Okay, these are all column headers. So you have to define what are the column headers. We will talk about that part as well. But yes, this is something that you have in here. Column headers. That's how you go with this. Okay. Additionally, what we have up in here is with this, we are going to take care of some other stuff as well. Relationships and all, but that we'll talk later. Right now we have this. This is about database and tables, right? Now, how to fire these queries? I told you that to fire these queries, you're gonna have that. This is our playground where we'll play around. As you can see here, this is our sample database. It has all of these tables. Inside these tables, you have these records. And there we have the data. You click onto this, it will execute that query and will get you that data. Right? You can check that here. You see, for every other table, it is showing us all of that data. We'll go with that part as well. Additionally, see this link I have shared it with you. Yeah. Plus, they also have this tutorial. Though, like in my presentation, we have all the topics. Okay. But just to avoid going back and through it, presentation and this platform, this also covers most of the things. Whichever would be pending, I'll refer to the presentation. But here they have this is like a complete tutorial that you can refer to. It also gives us a lot of these queries, but we'll verify and we'll make changes into those queries also. We can customize those queries according to our requirement. We'll go with this. Okay. So when you go to this SQL, as you can see here also, it's telling more or less the same thing. Like SQL is standard query language, some history, what it can do. You can perform all these operations, right? Executing queries against a database, retrieving data, insert, update, delete records, creating new database, new tables, stored procedures, views, setting permissions, everything you can do up in here. Now SQL actually, it comes with a different variations. It is an RDBMS database program. RDBMS is primarily a relational database management system. Now, when you say relational database management system, it is going to have relationship. We'll talk about this relationship aspect a little bit later. But yes, this is what we're gonna have in this. You can check that out. And in this database, you're gonna have these rows and columns that I have told you that when record, or you call it as rows, it's gonna be the horizontal entry, and columns will be the vertical entries. Now, okay, enough of this. Let's just go with firing a query. Let's just try to understand like how this all works. So first we have this select. Okay. Now in this, what it would do is in all of these, this like tutorial and all these queries, it would first tell us what this particular statement is all about, what it does, and an example as well, just to test. In this example, you can consider this as a question, this as an answer to that question, and this is where you can practice this. You can check whether it is going correct or not. So let's say if it is going with the certain technique, I can run and I can see if it is working fine or not. Right? So that is what we're going to see here. Now, this is how do you call it as a SQL query. Now, and see, you run on this and you'll get the result here. So you can verify that, okay, giving me the result from that table. Now, before we jump on to this, like what this query is doing and all that, there are a few basic things that you should know about these SQL queries. Now, first thing first, that all these SQL queries, as you're seeing up in here, you can see this is a special character towards the end. Now, SQL queries are not case sensitive. But before we go with the not aspect, we need to understand what is case sensitive. See, case sensitive is when small a and capital A are not equal to each other. It is there in a bit of programming languages like Java. Those are case sensitive languages. Here, SQL is not case sensitive. See, right now I'm getting this result. What I'm getting here, customer name and city from customer state. What if I make changes to the case of this query? Let's say I'll make this going as in this. Anything like you can even go with this. So we just make changes in here. And even now, if you go, you'll see that is how it would show you all. So it is still giving you the result because it is not a case sensitive language. Case is not a problem here. Also, SQL queries. In fact, in every programming language, there are some keywords. Keywords are basically the so that is what we will have. Okay. So these keywords are basically the reserved words, and primarily you will put this in the, though like it is not case sensitive, but as a convention, we put those in the it's not that if you'll not put it in the uppercase, your query will not run. It's not like that. But as a convention, we do this. We put this in uppercase. That is your keywords. And queries will be ending with this semicolon. This actually tells SQL that, okay, now this is the end of your query or the statement. Other than that, SQL also supports now what we call as multi-line run. See, it is running. You're getting the result. Now, if you put this like this, you give you the result. If you do it like this, it will give you the result. Same result. Which means you can write your queries in multiple lines without affecting the result. Now, so that, okay, what's the benefit? The benefit here is that you can actually create complex queries by breaking those into different lines. Now, this looks better. That, okay, select these columns from this table. Get the result. Right? That's how we can go ahead with. This is multi-line. We can do that. It's a common practice which is used to, write complex queries. And then later on, you can combine that, no problem. And every query in SQL will have a what they call it as a syntax. Syntax as in how you are writing that query. Because see, there is a defined way to write it. Let's say if I talk about English language. So there is a grammar which decides the syntax, like you'll go with subject, then verb, and then object, like as a standard for a sentence. Similarly, for queries also, we are going with this one. So here also, every query will have a syntax that you should write it. Select, then. So for this, if I talk about, it's gonna be select columns from table. Select these columns. Now these columns can be a list of columns separated by a comma from table. Now this is the syntax. Syntax is more like, when you're generalizing the things. That is where you talk about syntax. That is what you will get with this. Right? So that is how we'll go with this. So we'll just try to fire the first one. We'll see how it goes with this one. That's how it goes off. So let's say if we fire this first query here. So what it's going to give us this. Now see, generally what happens, Tom, if you are a QA or BA, you'll be firing these queries, okay? And it's going to give you all of that as a result. But how would you know that which specific columns I should put the name here? Because if the column name is not correct, you'll get errors. So what these guys are going to do is those database folks, they will share the structure of the table. Structure is all about the column names and their data type. We'll talk about what is data type a little bit later. But this is how the structure. So you'll know about the structure already. And then based on to that itself, you'll find these codes. Let's say right now I'm getting customer name and city. Let's say I need country also. So I can go with this. So now I'm getting country also in the result. So that's how like you can fire these. Other than that, what you can do more is this is like you can just keep putting the column names. Let's say I need address also. I can just put that address. So make sure that you're putting up a comma. Comma is a separator between column names. Now we're getting address also. So you can get like all these values, any order you want, it will be that. can try firing this query here. But let's say if you want to get all the columns, then you would, so I'll just put this in the chat. You can just say star. Star will get you all the columns with their data in the result. Right? Everything. 91 records, all 91 records with all the columns in the table. So star is basically all columns. It will get you in the result. If you want selective columns, then we did that already. So this actually gives you selective columns, whatever you're picking up. So it gets it out. And you can fetch like data for any, let's say, now you'll say that, okay, let's just see if we go with get me the details of all these cities where customers, from where these customers are. Then what would you do? You simply say select city from customers, and that's what you're going to get in here. 91 cities for 91 customers. This is how you can get that. But that's not the correct answer, right? I asked you to write a query to list the countries, the cities from where the customers are. But this is not the exact list because it is, you can see the repetition here, right? Berlin, London, again, London. I need a list where I can see one city name only once. Now for that, what you do is, for that you go to distinct. Distinct actually helps you to select only distinct values, no duplicates. So what all you need to do is, you just click here, go back. So if I write, distinct, as you can see, this in capital, that's also a keyword. See, now I'm getting 69. And now these are all unique. So basically, I have my customers from these 69 cities because I just needed to know the names of the cities, not like which customer is from which city. I did not want that. I wanted to know the names of the cities from where my customers are. So that is how you can practice around with this also. We'll see more of these. Like tomorrow, just explore this environment. See in the select also we did this. This is the syntax. And I told you, like wherever you see the query, just click onto this, try it yourself, it will take you here. And then you can try that query, what result it gives you. And if you want to make some changes in that query, you can make those, let's say, these three. So just try going with this as explore this. Try firing these two queries, select and select distinct. In distinct also, so you can check for countries. This you need not to do it now. As you can see, they don't have given that button as well because this is something that we'll discuss a little bit later. we have a separate topic for this. So you can check with these two how it all goes off. Don't go with these advanced queries because this is something that we'll discuss a little bit later, but this all will be discussed. Don't worry about that. Okay. Right now, go with the simple ones and just check if it works for you and see if you face any errors. No, just take a screenshot and keep it handy. Whenever we'll meet next, we're meeting tomorrow anyway. But yeah, for your queries every day. So you can have that all up in this here. We'll go ahead with that. Okay. Do you have any questions before we call it today, Ron?
No, good.
Just try that. We'll see where it goes. Okay. Have a great time. See you tomorrow. Take care.